This is how we start.
Hey, this is how
we're on.
This is the Black and White series with Duesr and
ENichole.
yeah, awesome.
AKA Last Night's Nightmare for all those that are watching.
Last Night's Nightmare.
I look like Last Night's Nightmare. I look like a Halloween story today.
You do not.
I'm plain faced. My hair is a hot mess.
Oh, geez.
Oh! I have on a Halloween shirt. But guess what?
What?
It's all in preparation for today's topic, which is none other than
Voting.
The
election.
This is an extremely important pod because it is actually October 28th, 2020.
Yes, it is.
And the election is literally how many days away, Deuce?
The election is 6 days away.
Less than a week.
Yeah, less than a week. 6 days.
And I'm really scared.
Why are you afraid?
Because I have sat and watched countless articles, NPR, stories, comments. I mean, this morning at 8 a.m., I was listening to something on NPR talking about the militias.
Oh, yeah.
And then they start talking about Trump supporters, and they're talking about how if he loses the election. So basically what I'm gathering so far is that some of these media outlets are trying to spread fear. So they're like, oh my God, if Trump gets elected, there's people that are prepared to fight against it. There's people that are prepared to go to war. There's people that are prepared to not listen to Joe Biden. It is like sickening, mind you, like the things that I've been hearing.
Did you hear about the TED Talk? Or the TED video that Van Jones did yesterday about what his fear is for this?
No, what did he say?
So he found out something that's interesting that's like about constitutionality of all of this. Mm-hmm. So apparently, if Biden wins the popular vote and then Biden wins the Electoral College, there's still a path for President Trump to still remain president of the United States.
Okay, what's that path?
So the way that it works is this. So there's always been kind of this gentleman's agreement between candidates. If you lose, you concede to your opponent, right? Okay. So there's always that concession eventually. Okay. And then essentially there's this kind of behind the scenes thing happens, which is the Electoral College where they formally vote. Because we know that technically the popular vote is not what elects the president. The popular vote votes for the Electoral College, and the Electoral College then votes for the president of the United States.
So to people listening, why should they vote?
Because the way the system is set up right now with the Electoral College is both parties have people that are really loyal to them, so they're going to vote that way anyways. So when you vote for the Electoral College, essentially when you win that state's electorates go, and they're very loyal to whoever the candidate is.
That's what they're saying. That's how it's supposed to be. But
correct.
According to what you were saying, there is an opportunity that even if isn't that how Hillary Clinton lost? She actually had the popular vote, but didn't have the
because part of the problem with the Electoral College is that we redo the Electoral College every 10 years based on the census. Mm-hmm. So the number of a number of people in the electorate changes state to state based on the population, right? Mm-hmm. So that's part of the issue that's there. So so what would happen though is, so let's say Trump still loses the Electoral College. Then what happens is if he doesn't concede, he can actually go to the states and go to the state legislatures, and he can sue saying any number of things. So for example, maybe he says there's too much voter fraud, right? He has no claim to that, but there's too much voter fraud. Goes to the state legislatures, it doesn't get resolved there. Eventually, it goes to the House of Representatives. Now, you would think that because it goes to the House of Representatives, that it would go to Joe Biden because there's more Democrats in the House, right? Mm-hmm. Except for that's not the way that it works. The way that it works is it's the delegate is the vote is based on each state. So it doesn't become each delegate votes, it's each state votes. And because there are more states.
Oh my God, I'm so confused.
With majority Republicans, it could be that Donald Trump can remain president of the United States. You know what I'll do? I'll link the talk that Van Jones gave
For all those who are totally confused with what he's saying, like I am.
I'm sorry. Maybe I'm not doing that great of a job.
He's going to, no, it's just really long.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Boring.
Because, and boring.
Yeah.
But, which actually is really sad.
Yeah.
Because what that's saying to me is that the whole premise of voting is a joke. And here's what I mean by that.
Okay.
Yes, it is important to vote. Vote. I actually have my absentee ballot in my purse.
Yes.
That I'm going to take down to the Board of Elections. So,
nice.
On record, voting is extremely important. However, what I'm saying,
sorry,
it's okay. I was like, my doppelganger is going on. I swear that I just said that. And I'm like, am I crazy?
I was just making sure the video was playing.
That's why I looked at you like, is he still present? Because it could be me in an outward state. Anyways, so for the record, vote. But what I'm saying is because there's all of these loopholes,
right?
And because Trump has strategically set up, it's literally like, I mean, he's a businessman, right? So it's literally like he wrote down all the avenues of how he can get around the regular way of doing things. And I feel like he's like, boom, let's start attacking it now. For example, when he tried to get those votes in Pennsylvania not to count.
Right.
Boom. Before that, when he starts saying, oh, the mail, something's going to be wrong with the mail. Boom. Yeah. And then all of a sudden, the postmaster dude is a Republican. Yeah. But you're saying something's wrong with the mail. Right. But then the postmaster Republican dudes start taking away machines right before the election. So, whatever. So then there's that, right? And then there's this long, boring, quite interesting thing that you're telling us, about different various ways that he can win. So there's that. Then he also said, and I heard him say this, I don't know why people act like they didn't hear this, but I heard him say months ago how he was going to have the election set up to the point to where it ends up going down to be a Supreme Court vote. And he feels pretty good about winning because he's like, because the odds are going to be in my favor. Now, when he said this, that the Democratic lady that just passed, she was not yet dead.
Ruth Bader Ginsburg, yeah.
She was not yet dead, but he already had his plan in motion. Then when she died and they appointed the 38-year-old homegirl, I said, oh my God, I am literally watching what's getting ready to unfold.
Yep. Amy Coney Barrett, 48 years old, 3 years of experience.
38 on the radio. Is it 48? 48?
Yes, 48. Yeah. She, I thought you said 48 too.
I said 38.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Doesn't matter. 48. Yes, 48.
Yeah. Still very young for she's only had federal judge experience for 3 years. And then she was a law professor at Notre Dame for 20 years. So it's a complete, joke. Well, and oh my God, it's horrifying. But the good news is there was the Washington Post just reported that apparently 71.5 million people have already cast a vote.
Okay.
So we've already had a lot of early voting, a lot of absentee voting. A lot of voting has already started to take place, which is good to hear that many people are voting already. So good job, everybody out there.
But is it good to hear? Because again, you just gave me an outline.
Yeah.
And we just had an example of Hillary.
Yeah.
Of how this just may not work.
I think it's going to work. Maybe that's my bright-eyed, bushy-tailed hope and faith. I don't know, but I think it's going to work. And if it doesn't, then we protest. We go out into the streets and we protest.
Well, I mean, didn't they do that with the Florida elections when they counted all those ballots and all those ladies came to the courts and were like, this is a fake person, this is a fake person. Yet and still, Bush still served out his 4 years.
Yeah, he did. Back in 2000, the hanging chads. Those hanging chads caused a big problem. Yeah. Well, I mean, eventually it did come out that he had won Florida, but yes, it wasn't a big issue. It was a huge issue.
And I'm frozen.
Oh.
So I don't know, you guys. I'm really sad. The reason why I vote is for my ancestors. Too many of them lost their lives, too much bloodshed over having this right. And I feel like for that reason alone, I'm going to vote. However, the system is a joke.
I agree with that.
All of it.
Yeah, I agree.
Listen, so before I came in here today, I was listening to NPR again. Or actually, no, I was listening to Urban Vision. Shout out, XM Radio. And so, they were talking about like voting or whatever. And callers are calling in, voting for Trump or voting for Biden. And they were telling why. I missed all of that, thank God.
Right.
But what I found interesting was that there was actually a Native American who called in.
Yeah.
Who actually lives on the reservation. He actually is, apparently, he's high up in terms of how it goes, how it goes with the Native Americans, and like he's part of this board and that board, and he does something with, he represents the Native Americans like politically and
Right.
And he was calling on to talk about his support for Biden and why, and he was talking about how the Trump administration had tried to leave them out of the votes, and he talked about how excluding the Trump, the Trump thing is, or how Trump has been in, his new, whatever his quote unquote topics are for the next term.
Right.
But how that isn't including them, how, he talked about how, when COVID happened, how the Trump administration excluded all the Native Americans. They actually had to go to court and protest to get relief that a lot of us took advantage of.
Right.
I mean, he went on and things I just didn't even know, but he just talked about how important it is for all of us to get out and vote again, like what we're talking about today. And to make a long story even longer, I think me and you touched on this in private conversation, but I was listening, or maybe it was you that had me watch that thing on voting and how, there's going to be like 20, 30,000, even more people that aren't going to be allowed to vote in this election because they have changed the criteria in who can vote. And it's like, how is that legal? How is it legal? Like, I mean, recently, if you guys aren't hip, there's been recent changes within the last 5 years.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And even people that voted the first four, a lot of you will not be able to vote in this election.
And what's awful is that even when the will of the people says otherwise, government still steps in. So one of the examples that we're talking about is Florida, where in Florida, the people of Florida voted to make it so that when you you have no felony, probation or any of those things, what ends up happening is you get your right to vote back, right? And so they made it so that ex-felons could vote, and that's thousands of people in the state.
Some,
right? Well, some, correct.
Because there's still a loophole even with that, which sucks.
Right, and then so what the government did for that loophole is they made it so that yes, you can vote because the will of the people was you could vote, but you had to pay fines, all your fines up to vote, which is why Michael Bloomberg went to Florida and paid like fines for like 70,000 people. They just paid off their fines through some charitable organization so they could vote in this election. So, which is very interesting.
Yes.
But that's the sort of stuff that is happening or currently happening with the voter suppression you're talking about.
Not to segue
yes
off, however, but if I had that much money like Bloomberg had or whatever, because none of that's affecting him. Like this dude can literally spend $1,000 a day for the rest of his life and never go broke.
Right.
He literally can give the American people $1,000 and still have more than enough for himself and his generations and his generation's generation. If I have that much money, when I have that much money, I'm buying everybody's votes. For free. Just follow me. Anyway, back to this.
You're buying everybody's votes.
You heard it here first.
No, well, voter tampering. I'm down. Let's do this.
No.
It was a joke.
I mean, I'm not running for any election, but I'm just going to buy their votes. Just all the thing they have to do is follow me on social media.
Oh, I like that.
That's what I mean. I'm not trying to run.
Oh.
Honey, they kicked me out of office, honey.
I'm running it. My buddy and I are running in 2062.
Ow!
Oh, that did look like it hurt.
Just one of these days.
We're trying to talk this serious subject about the election and the things are hitting us.
And in the studio, yes. And in the studio, it's a totally different ballgame.
No, so my buddy and I are planning on running for president in 2062.
Okay, that's not funny.
No, that's not. I'm not joking about it. We are actually planning on running in 2062.
Why?
Because we would be, as of right now, we would be the oldest candidates in the history of the United States.
Wait, how old are you going to be in 2062?
I'll be 83.
I'm not going to vote for you. I'm just going to keep it real and tell the public that I'm not going to vote for you at 83 years old because
why?
You're going to be half senile, old, and you may not be relevant, and we might have to vote about flying cars, and you're going to want your car to be on the road. And, I mean, I just don't think. I think they should put a cap on the Supreme Court people too. They too dang old. They got old views.
Well, unless you're Amy Coney Barrett, you're 48 years old. And
listen, when she get a certain age, her views gonna be too old too.
That's true. Yeah, there is talk of making the Supreme Court a 16-year appointment. So instead of it being lifetime,
I mean, who gets to vote on that?
Congress gets to vote on that. So it'd be a congressional thing, and then I think the states have to ratify it because you would have to, if I remember correctly, amend the Constitution essentially to be able to do something like that. So you'd need 38 out of the 50 states to vote on it.
Oh,
yeah, informative.
Well, that's what we need to do, doggone it.
Yeah, I agree. There's a lot of changes that need to happen in this overall. I think there's a crap ton. I almost said a bad word. And we're not allowed to say bad words. We're not allowed to say bad words on this show? I guess not. Oh. All right. All right, guys. Go ahead. Go ahead.
No, your turn. No,
it's fine.
No, go on. Go.
I was just going to say, if you wanted to talk to us, it's 216-249-6991.
How could I forget that? Please call in 216-249-6991. We'd love to hear y'all's voices, especially since I keep getting booted out my live.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on over there.
Which is probably for a good reason because I look like a Halloween scary horror show.
You do not.
Rocky Horror Picture Show today.
Rocky Horror Picture Show?
Yeah.
You do not look like Dr. Frickin'. What are you talking about?
I look like the Wicked Witch of the West Side of Akron. Just kidding.
What would the Wicked Witch? Oh, we got a phone call. All right. Who's calling us?
Okay, you gonna answer it? Hey, what's up? This is ENichole, and I was about to change your name again.
Was it Duesr B?
It wasn't even. It was gonna be John Duesr B.
Okay, whatever.
Whatever. Anyways, and you're here live at the Black and White series. What's your name and what you want to talk about?
Erica, this is Randall. What up?
Who is it?
This is Randall Wallace.
Hi, Randall. I just couldn't hear your voice. That's why I said
that was very high pitched. Hi, Randall.
I know Randall. I've been knowing Randall for a long time. Randall's parents has been friends with my family for, oh my God, it's been ridiculous. And Randall, also he used to have a radio show. I don't know what he's still doing. He's popping off in New York. So I'm so super glad to have you on our show. Talk to us, Randall. What you got to say?
You can find it on iTunes or whatever Android people listen to podcasts on. I'm not on that Android level. I'm on the Apple stuff. But,
all right.
You can find it in iTunes. F You Heard Radio.
All right. So talk to us.
I have a question for both of y'all.
Okay.
We like questions.
What are you gaining from a Kamala Biden ticket that's going to be tangible in the next 4 years? And let me add to that and say, sure. I'm asking this question because There's people literally marching in the street right now over the death of Walter Wallace in Philadelphia, which is another police shooting of an unarmed black man who may have had mental issues.
Absolutely, I saw that.
Both of the Democratic candidates, I guess, Kamala and Biden, have a egregious history with law and order policy and mass incarceration, and they have not really addressed any of this yet. So I'm curious to know what type of changes you anticipate getting from this ticket?
Before either of us tackle this question, let me ask you one. Who are you voting for?
You want to know the honest answer?
Yeah, I asked.
I voted for my dog.
Oh, you already voted?
Yeah, I already voted.
And you
I turned in my ballot yesterday.
You voted in for who?
I voted for my German Shepherd.
Oh.
You put that in the ballot?
I wrote her name on the ballot.
Right.
Okay, now let me ask you a follow-up question. What was the purpose of that?
I cannot. So the purpose of it is, as a person of color and a black man, I could never, ever see myself voting for a person who embraced Strom Thurmond and eulogized Strom Thurmond, but could not go on TV during a national debate and just say Black Lives Matter. You know, Biden has such a terrible history with our community, and there's numerous examples of this that I just kind of felt that voting for him was actually moving in the wrong direction, is moving backwards. And the only difference between Biden and Trump is one is overt and one is covert. Does that answer your question?
I just want to know who you voted for and why. So absolutely it does. I just want to know what your theory was. But you didn't vote for either. But I'm just curious. Nope. But I'm just curious to know why go to the polls though. And you could have just stayed at home.
No. Oh, see, please. Oh, I'm so glad I'm called in for this.
Me too.
Listen, the reason why the Democratic Party is in the condition that it was in, and the reason why Obama had his hands tied, was because people did not show up at the polls during midterms. And people did not show up at the polls when there were other local elections. Yep. The most important thing you can do when you vote is vote locally. Absolutely. Because that impacts your life even more than the national Absolutely. Scale does. Okay. So I still had, my local stuff to actually vote for. Okay. Like, there's more than one person on the ballot. There's there's more than one seat to vote for when you go and vote. So of course I actually contributed to my community. Of course.
Well, I'm glad thank you, because there are people who are listening and watching who were asking, well, why did you vote? Well, what's the point of you voting? So I asked you that on purpose, not to make you, not saying that you are, but not to diminish what you're doing or to try to challenge you, but because I know that there are listeners, in fact, who, when they heard you say that you voted in your dog, that's all that they know. Especially a lot of people who have never voted, or maybe have never voted on a major, in a national election as a scale like this. So, thank you, Duesr, answer his question.
So, great question. So there's a couple of things, and I'll be honest with you, I did bring up, just so I can speak fluently on this, I brought up Joe Biden's actual website to see a lot of his policies. So I didn't want to be a person that didn't know what he was saying. So a couple of things. I agree with you 100% about what Biden did in the past. Should not be something that we should not necessarily take light of, right? He did a lot of things that were stupid. He did a lot of things that were motivated by his own political power and wanting to stay within the framework of the office, right? A couple of things that I do like about Joe Biden is I do like about the Violence Against Women Act, which was passed in 1994. That was a very important piece of legislation, in my opinion. It was not enough. Of the legislation. There needed to be a lot more. That was part of that early 90s compromise that unfortunately kind of hurt our country in a lot of ways socially. And so that was not enough, but it was something that was forward thinking. the thing that I look at is not only that, but let's talk about our climate emergency that we currently have going on. We're about to pull out of the Green New Deal, the Paris Accords. That's a significant issue. He does have a plan to tackle the climate emergency that is currently happening, and I think that's something that's very important. I believe that he does want to improve racial economic equity in the country, and I think that one of the things that I'm able to do as a citizen is to keep pressing on that. The thing is that every 4 years we essentially overthrow the government, right? So every 4 years we basically decide we're going to overthrow whoever's currently in office and put new folks into office. So it's my responsibility to be able to push Biden to where I want to see him at, because I did vote for Biden. And I think he will be more willing to compromise with what I'm talking about and the things that I want. Now, is it going to be easy? Absolutely not. It's not going to be easy at all. And it's going to require a lot of people really putting the pressure on to the current politicians, the current system that we have. We're going to have to really kind of just dig in and be ready for a big political fight. No matter who the person is.
Can I ask you a question about that particularly? Because
Sure.
There's one thing that everyone has already forgotten about.
Sure.
Biden's one job when he was the VP was to be that middleman and be able to go up into the Hill and get Obama's agenda passed as the head of the Senate, as the tiebreaker or the potential tiebreaker person of the Senate.
Agreed.
He was not able to do that for 6 years. So what would make any of us think that he would be able to accomplish this if the House and the Senate are still controlled by the Republicans? I know that the House is not controlled by the Republicans now, but I'm just use a hypothetical right now. If the Senate is still ran by the Republicans, how is he going to be able to do this?
But hold on, real quick. Do you think that if Biden is in office, that it's going to be worse for us as Black people than it is now with Trump?
No, I think it's going to be the status quo. It's going to be the same.
Okay. If it's going to be the same,
that's my whole point.
If it's going to be the same, do you think that you think that Biden will do more damage than Trump did his first 4 years?
I would argue that he already did more damage. Trump never passed a bill like the 94 crime bill. He signed a bunch of executive orders that can be like tossed out the first day the next president is in office. But as legislation wise, no, Joe has already done more damage.
And he admitted that and said he was trying to fix it.
Yes, he admitted it. And he said he was going to try to fix it after he started running for president. Right. He had many years to try to fix it before this point. That's my point.
So you think another 4 years of Trump?
Nope, not saying that. My point of making the call is to just really highlight that there's really no difference.
Well, there is a difference. So there may not be for the record, I am not a fan of Biden. I am not.
No.
I'm not.
No.
I didn't vote for him when it was time to pick the Democratic Party anyway. He wasn't my choice. However, he's here, right? And we also have Trump still here. And I totally agree with you. Covert, overt. I'm with you on that. I it's a huge question mark over, when I look at Biden, when it comes to me, you know what I mean? I'm not sure I believe him a lot. However, I think I'm willing to take the risk there than I am willing to take what it is that we have with Trump.
Right. And that's
not
why,
just for Black people. It's not just a Black thing. It's not just a Black thing. It's not. But the thing is this, if I don't get anything except for Biden preaching inclusion instead of division, I'm here for it. One thing's for sure.
What about the policy?
One thing's, listen, you already said it's the same. You already said it's not going to change. You already said it's not going to change. So there is nothing for us to talk about there. We got the same candidate this, even though they're different people, the same candidate with the same policy is not going to change anything. So I have to move forward and see, well, what else looking at the two can change nationally for our country. And one thing's for sure is that since Trump has been in office, it's been division. He's separate but equal, quote unquote. That's literally what he's saying.
So, Erica, real quick, do you think it's been a blessing or a curse to actually see the people who actually have the mindset that would support a Trump? Because I like the fact now that I see,
you know who you're working with. Okay. I mean, I respect Trump for being who he is, for not hiding behind a wall, so to say. It's easier to deal with a racist when they telling you that they don't like you. All right, cool. I don't like you either. But however, we still got to, push past and move together, as opposed to me sitting here talking to who I think is an ally and you really secretly hate me, not you.
Mm-hmm.
But
mm-hmm.
So in that regard, I respect that. But it's so much more to it than that. For me, I need more.
I hear you. I hear you. I just, me, I try to provoke thoughts.
I love it. Listen, I'm not offended. You can call back all the time. When you in town, come be a guest.
We love you.
I'll be in town for Thanksgiving.
Ooh.
Well, we here.
Well, that's the turkey episode. No,
I know.
Hey, but anyway, you guys, when you get a chance, go and check out our last show. It's called "A Look Back on the 2016 Election Season Compared to 2020 Season," where me and my co-host DJ T. Ferg, we actually use a clip that we used in 2016.
Yeah,
and we actually made predictions of what happened during a Trump presidency, and then we came back and revisited that episode and talked about what we got right and what we got wrong.
Oh, that's
You'll
phenomenal.
be surprised how
could you
accurate
tag
that
that?
episode
Could you tag
is.
that to our page?
That'd be great.
If you can tag it to the Black and White series, so him and I will have something to follow back and look at.
Yeah,
so that'd be great if you could just tag that to our page.
Yeah, I'd love to hear it.
Thank you so much. We appreciate you. That's what we like to hear. Those are phone calls we like to hear. Please, I loved it. Thank you so much, Randall. You were so dope. Shout out to y'all's pod. I didn't catch the name.
Neither did I. But he's gonna
tag us in it, and that is something I'm dying to actually see. Shout out to Dante Ferguson. Again, call in. What's the numbers?
It's 216-249-6991. Yeah,
that was great. Your turn.
Yeah, my turn. Mm-hmm. What am I turning?
Your turn to talk.
Oh, I thought I talked a little bit. Maybe I didn't. So, actually, I actually went and voted last Friday, and my line was about 10 minutes long. It was very interesting.
Really?
Yeah, in Lorain County, Lorain County is very small in comparison to Cuyahoga County. Mm-hmm. I went and voted. I loved every minute of it. It was real quick, real easy, real smooth.
Did you go like first thing in the morning?
I actually went I want to say it was 2:00 is when I went. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, 2:00. Because I forgot to update my driver's license, and I looked at my license. I'm like, oh, I got to go get a new license.
And then you had to get like a new license. Like we had to bring in all that stuff.
I got the standard one.
Because doesn't it expire in 2022 or 2021?
Something like that. But I just got that one just real quick because I wanted to make sure I didn't have to bring all the paperwork and stuff so that I could vote.
Right.
So I went and voted, and that was cool. Of course, I've voted. Do I vote? Yeah, I vote all the time. But anyways, and then one of the things I really liked about what Randall had to say was the small local elections. Lorain County's got a lot of local elections happening right now, and there's some, and that's really where a lot of your positive change is going to take place, is in those elections, voting for the folks that are going to affect what we do. City council.
I'm so glad you brought that point up.
Yeah.
Just to reiterate it again for the third time for those of you that are listening.
Right.
Even if you don't want to vote for the president, because a lot of people are like, I'm not voting. I don't care. I'm not voting. I don't want either of them. That's cool, y'all.
Right.
But there's other people on the ballot, especially that affects you locally. All right. So follow suit with my friend if you want to. Name your girlfriend or your dog. No, don't. But please vote. Because there's so many other people other than just Trump and Biden. This is so much more than just a presidential election.
Right. There's a lot of senators out there. In fact, in South Carolina, the election's very close between Lindsey Graham and Jamie Harrison. Harrison's beating him by 2 percentage points right now. And Lindsey Graham, of course, is the guy who infamously said that if I vote for a Supreme Court nominee in the last year of an election, use my words against me. He said that 4 years ago when he refused to vote for Merrick Garland, and then he did vote for Amy Coney Barrett. So they're using that against him right now. So, to say, yeah.
And what is he saying? What's his response?
He said that the reason he decided he was going to do it is because of how Democrats treated Brett Kavanaugh in 2018.
Oh, it doesn't matter how they're doing anything. You said
right 8 days before the election. I mean, she got confirmed 8 days before the election.
I hate it here.
Yeah, that's
cheating.
That is more than cheating. More than cheating, because Merrick Garland, by the way, is an amazing judicial person. Really
Dang, why couldn't she just live for one more week?
Right. That would have, or maybe 2 more weeks. That would have been nice.
Right. Well, 1 more week, they wouldn't have been able to get homegirl in that quick.
No, yeah. RBG. God rest her soul, man. She was yeah.
It's a firecracker, I don't know.
Oh yeah, she was amazing as a.
That's the thing, though. Like, these people, Republican, Democratic, who gives a crap? Like, right is right and wrong is wrong. And if they're up there and these people are taking this stuff to the Supreme Court and the facts are what the facts,
right.
Just do right.
Do right by people.
Just do right.
Yeah. There is a morality to all of this.
Is there a way that these people can get fired?
The Supreme Court?
Yeah.
I'm not 100% certain. I think there is a way to have them removed. What we're more likely to see happen is if the Democrats win the presidency,
okay,
and if they take the Senate, which is likely, actually, they have a very good chance of that. What we'll probably see is something called court packing. And court packing is, for those of you who don't know, is when the Democratic Party would then add additional seats to the Supreme Court, because nothing in the Constitution says that it has to be 9 people. Right. So.
Oh, for real?
Right. So the reaction would be, you extend that out. So there's a 6-3 conservative versus, liberal judges. So what you do is you make that go out to 13 Supreme Court justices, and at that point, you then nominate 4 liberals and you push them through, just like the Republicans did. You push them right through the Senate. So that would be probably one of the next steps.
Well, how come nobody else has done that?
Well, traditionally, for the most part, up until recently,
they've been cheating the whole time.
Yeah,
they've been doing. Come on, remember when you were like, no president is supposed to be allowed to have political parties at the White House.
Right. Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean,
that's a law. That's a rule.
Yeah, you're not supposed to. Yeah, you.
And he did it talking about, well, we were on the grass. Like, they are.
Yeah, it's dumb. It's really dumb.
This dude pardoned all his convicted friends.
Yeah. And
then wrongfully fired anybody who went against him.
Yeah.
Not because they showed up to work late.
No.
Not because they told top secrets.
Right.
Because they challenged him.
Right. Well, because, he wants to be a dictator.
But he's breaking all the rules.
And the problem is that his party is allowing him to do it. They're not calling him on it. If this is 74 and Nixon is getting shoved out the door right now, right?
Right.
Why isn't that happening? Why are we shoving him out the door? So, and we should.
What they did to my boy Clinton, and that was in the 90s.
Yeah. William Jefferson Clinton.
He got impeached.
Yeah. I mean,
meanwhile, your boy Trump breached national security, and Clinton had a marital sin, which has nothing to do with running the country, by the way.
No.
Although, it has nothing to do. He didn't tell Monica no trade secrets.
That's true.
He just left a few in her mouth.
That's a descriptive way of putting it. Although I find it interesting that Trump is my boy. I don't yet. I don't really like that Bill Clinton did that. I'm not going to lie. I think she was a young girl and he took advantage of the situation. But having said that.
Oh, Monica?
Yeah.
Who took advantage of the situation?
She was 22.
They set her up. That was a setup.
I don't remember.
Are you kidding me? That's why she went and told Oh my God! You don't know the behind the scenes of that?
No.
Oh, sweetie.
I remember Linda Tripp.
Oh my God!
Yeah, I remember Linda Tripp.
No, Clinton didn't swab her. They set her up to get her to get the evidence that he was doing that. That's how you think the
Linda
dress when she was supposed
stain on her dress.
And then she went back and told, like, that's what the evidence was.
I mean, we've all had stains on our dresses.
With that specific kind.
No, but not. Yeah, I've had a stain on my dress.
Any other time she didn't leave any stains.
That's weird. That's really strange. Oh, maybe I'll have to look into it a little bit.
They have a whole, like, there's a docuseries.
Yeah. I mean, I believe you.
Quite interesting.
I believe you definitely, without a shadow.
I watched the docuseries.
Somebody took advantage of that.
Oh, I got his zip right here.
Oh, do you?
Anyways, you guys, I'm really sad. I just don't know how to feel about this next week. I just don't know how to. This has been the most.
Well, we know the election's not going to be determined Tuesday. I mean, that's just not going to happen.
And that's another thing. Right. We always knew the next day.
Yeah. Well, usually.
Now they got what we know 10 days later because they got to count up all these ballots that are getting mailed in.
Yeah. Well, so, I mean, it's a good thing that we're mailing in ballots, though. I mean, you don't want people doing this in the middle of the pandemic. It should be faster than that process.
What you mean? If people are walking around wearing masks and social distancing, why? I don't understand why it should be any different. And it's 2020. Doggone it, we got freaking hoverboards that go. Why can't they come up with a solution? We all got phones where it's connected to your social security number and you just ding in your vote right off of your phone. Like this, seriously, intellect people, IT team, where y'all at? Can't nobody come up with something? We freaking can talk to our friends overseas and look at their faces. And you mean to tell me you have not yet come up with a formula that has nothing to do with paper?
Oh. Well then.
Sorry, I'm just a little upset right now. I told y'all this election is bringing the ugly out of me. I have on a happy Halloween, Wicked Witch of the West.
See, I like your happy Halloween shirt, though.
And it's not even glowing.
Yeah. Well, you've got to get a battery.
True.
What kind of battery is it?
I don't know, those little round weird ones.
Oh, like they go in your watch?
Yeah.
By the way,
it's a bigger, fatter one than that. It's like the size of a nickel.
Ooh, like a nickel?
Yeah.
That's what my grandma used to give me so we get candy down at the corner store.
Nickels?
A nickel.
We have penny candies.
Oh yeah.
Anyways, everybody, VOTE Tuesday, November 4th.
Yeah. Are you yelling at me, by the way, earlier, or was that just yelling?
When?
Earlier.
I yelled at you?
I was asking if you were yelling.
What, did I just make a sound? Like, ah!
I don't know. I was concerned.
When was I yelling?
I don't know.
When I dropped the thing on my head?
Maybe that was it.
Definitely always yelling at you. It is always your fault.
Well, I mean,
yeah,
that's true. You're not wrong. I usually is my fault. And Selena always, she always.
Shout out to Selena, the super producer, y'all. We cannot have a show. The Black and White series will not be present without none other than Selena.
Yeah, she's.
You heard it here first. You heard it here first. But next, I thought you had our sound effects this week because you could have booed Randall a few times. I'm just teasing Randall. We appreciate you.
Yeah, we had a little discussion earlier about that.
Yeah.
About
I got you next time.
Yeah, we don't.
And if any recommendations, let him know and I'll download some stuff.
Yeah.
Like specific.
Bells, dings, I'm here for all
whistles.
Of it. Claps, woo, screams.
Yes.
Well, in 2 weeks, when we come back for the Black and White series, we might have a president. Might?
Yeah.
In 2 weeks when we come back?
Yeah. And I think in 2 weeks we're talking about what are we talking? Oh, we were talking about the white messiahs and black emasculation in movies. That was the topic. Or do we want to go to something?
Well, I mean, I don't know, because this election thing is going to have me so bugged out. Like, how long, what's the deadline? How long do they have after Tuesday to...
There really isn't a deadline. It's just until all the votes are counted. And then...
Well, how do you know all the votes? What do you mean? People votes, hundreds of votes could keep coming every day for the next 30 days. What type of philosophy is whenever all the votes start coming?
So
I hate it here.
At a certain point...
I hate it here.
Okay.
Sorry, guys.
Me too. I hate it here as well.
Island, you know?
What island?
I don't know. Just one that like only certain people can come on and we could just do our own thing. And
yeah.
You know what I mean?
Like have shrimp.
You said have shrimp?
Yeah, on the island.
Like that you eat?
Yeah, when you eat.
I mean, if that's what you're a fan of, knock yourself out.
So maybe some sushi? Are you?
I'm not a fan of any of those things, but if
Oh.
that's what makes you happy,
Yeah.
catch them and cook them and
All right. I mean,
slice them up. And although I do like ceviche.
ooh, okay, there we go. I can do some ceviche.
You can?
Yeah.
Lies. You can cook?
Yeah. I don't cook ceviche, but I can cook. I cook a lot, actually.
Have you had? We should do a black and white series on
Food.
black and white food.
Yeah, coleslaw.
See the thing? What coleslaw is not?
a-
Is that what white people eat?
No,
We eat potato salad, sweetie. I don't know what you're talking about.
I eat potato salad
I
too.
mean, we eat coleslaw
Y'all
too,
gotta
but not as
incorporate
much.
that seasoning. Y'all gotta talk about seasoning. And you can't just bring up seasoning that you don't have in your cabinet, so there has to be proof.
Yeah.
I will take a
I would
picture.
actually bring something that he hasn't eaten before, like
Ooh.
black. That black people eat. I don't know what it is yet. We have to go down the list, but
Yeah, we would have to go.
that would be fun.
I
Have
eat
you
it.
had Jamaican food, like
Oh,
jerk
yeah.
chicken, curry chicken?
Oh yeah,
Oh yeah, you're into all of that.
I'm
I'm not a soul food person, but have you had soul food? Yams, collards.
I've had yams.
Have you had like neck bones and
I have
chicken feet?
not had neck bones.
Would you eat it?
Sure,
You would?
I ate a frog when I was living in the Philippines.
Well, I had a frog legs too.
No, I actually ate a frog.
What you mean, like a real one?
It was stuffed,
I mean, I had with what?
like some sort of meat. I also ate a.
I mean, but did it like look like a frog? Like have the
Yeah.
frog skin?
Oh yeah. I also ate a hard-boiled duck egg. The duck was already in the egg. It's called
Oh,
balut.
that's so sad. You opened it and had the duck and the egg, and you seen it.
No, I didn't open it up and see it in there. I
But
just
you
put it.
mean you had the hard-boiled egg with the duck in it?
It's called balut. It's a big thing in the Philippines.
So the duck was in it,
It was dead because they hard-boiled
but
it.
it was in it, and
Yeah.
you ate the egg and
It
ate the
tastes-
duck.
It tasted like chicken.
You ate the dead duck in
I
the
did.
hard.
I'm open
Poor
to.
little ducky.
I'm open to food experiences.
But you seen the duck when you cracked open the egg? In
I
there?
did. I did not. What I did was cracked open the egg away from my face and then just shoved it in my face.
Oh, you didn't like bite it to see like the
No.
body.
No, I just put the whole thing in my mouth
Why didn't you bite it to see if it?
because I didn't want to see the body.
Did it have the bones? Did you feel like the?
Oh, there was bones in there. Yeah, it was just.
Ew.
It was like, they weren't like really tough.
No, I know, but this because it was a baby and it was still an
Right.
embryo, but
Yeah.
still it was smushy and you ate it. I mean, like chewy, like bendable. Oh my God, I'm out of here, you guys. I don't want to be on this series anymore
What? Why?
today.
Okay. All right. I was suddenly disappointed. I was going to have Selena be my new
Man,
co-host.
psych your mind.
All right, that's fine.
But she can always fill in if I'm not ever unavailable.
Look, I don't think I can match your energy. But
No, not at all.
You got it, Lena.
Yeah,
So y'all, it's been the black and white series.
yeah.
I'm ENichole.
I'm Duesr.
Is that it? Do you have any other last remarks?
No, I'm good.
We love y'all and we appreciate y'all. And please, 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 people, go vote. Go vote. I'm not saying vote for one person or the other. I'm not saying to not vote for anybody. All I'm saying is vote. So
Yeah.
just mark something on the ballot for whomever.
Yeah.
But vote, please.
Yes, please vote.
We love
Participate.
y'all. We out.
We get back to the start of a broken heart and shattered dreams. A memory depicted by the reason why you stood there cowering. Beaten up and pushed aside, defeated with no sense of pride. You didn't take no for an answer, they're just spreading the cancer of all these worthless lies. Don't listen to the voices in your head that tell you you can't do this, but you can. You're stronger than you'd ever think you'd be. It's just a simple matter of positivity. You watch as the years go by, set to change your life and all that comes with the need to build a legacy. It's plain to be, you've got big plans for this. Crashing a travesty strikes, the one you love grips her to life. Minutes then turn to hours, and you wonder how you could ever live without her. Don't listen to the voices in your head They'll tell you to give up and take their hand. You're strong enough to get through this, you'll say. It's just a simple matter of positivity.